this kind of as the before and after. As you can see, this is the before. We've got glue hanging out of our joints. But the joints fit pretty nicely. Big globber here waiting to be leveled out. And the side of the boat in general, just the way it's been all the way along during our construction. When we've been putting filler in, and we knew there were joints that were going to have to be dealt with, we've put additional in, sometimes coating and recoating until we actually got close to where we needed to be to provide for a final coat. And on this side, you can see the difference. There we are rough. Here we are ready basically for our final coat. Everything is rounded and smooth. Our cowl, our seat back is in place. All of the cap rails, the edges of the deck have all been radius to 1/4 inch, which is what the class allows us. The sides are sanded, and pretty much this part of the boat, this side of it at any rate, is ready for its last coat of epoxy or paint or whatever it is that you're going to put on this thing, and that will provide you with a pretty good looking vessel when we're done. We're looking shiny now. We've got coat of West on the outside, and with the exception of the knee, this vessel is pretty close to there. I'm going to make this knee, but the rest of it, I think we got to mount hardware, and we can take this boat and go sailing now, I think. It's light, looks pretty nice, and once we get it rigged up, we'll see what kind of performance we get out of the thing. But pretty much that's putting a DN together, and there's a number of plans out there. We happen to use Bob Gray's, but they're all pretty similar, and the considerations will all be the ones we've talked about. Good luck. Last night we carefully measured and got our knee assembly installed. This is a 4-part arrangement that we made out of basswood, carefully fitted to the width of the hull. It's an interesting design and quite strong. As you can see, there's a full piece member that comes across, but doesn't go all the way, and then the grain changes and goes vertically here. On the back side, it's the opposite. And because of this cross, the two knees created by this are very, very strong. At the same time we did this, we made what is got to be one of the most complicated pieces in the entire boat, these little corner sections, which are incredible to make, basically, because you have to go from a 45 to a vertical, and you have to install it with an arc built into it to boot. This is quite an undertaking and very time consuming, but it really finishes off the way the boat looks, rounding out our cockpit as opposed to having it just be a square box. This is the grand finale. We've got a coat of urethane on this. We're using a 2-part automotive clear coat because it's got great UV resistance, and the epoxy we coated it with does not. And so we've coated the whole thing inside and out. Nice gloss. Looks great. But we're not content with that, so we're going to change the color since we have this bizarre styrofoam coated unit here on the back end, and so we're trying to lay out here with some automotive stripe tape, and using our eye as best we can what our layout is going to be for this thing relative to trying to put a two-tone. We're going to coat the top with a color, and we're going to leave the bottom of it wood, which ought to produce a nice effect. And there we go. We got our paint on this thing. Looks pretty sharp. Hardware's just setting on here, but it's where it all goes. This is pretty much the design that we had in our head when we did this. And we've got a boat that's light, cool looking, and ready to race. Let's finish it off and go sailing.